Amon-Ra St. Brown has his own Aaron Rodgers moment. Relax.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, it's a Wednesday edition, everybody. Locked On Lions. Welcome in on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Matt Dery with you on the #1 sports podcast network, Locked On. We are with you each and every day, Monday through Friday. I've been with you for 10 years doing Locked On Lions. Appreciate all of you making us your first listen, being with us. Coming up on the program today, let's talk a little PFF. We mentioned it a little bit yesterday because the Lions grade is out for the offensive line and where they rank. Last year, they were a top 2 offensive line. This year, 12. We mentioned this yesterday in talking about Arizona. We'll do a deeper dive into that coming up. Also, an ownership comment that I want to make following Terry Pagula's clown show appearance today in front of the media in Buffalo. I will explain and what that means for the Lions coming up in a minute. What's the connection between John Harbaugh and the Lions? At his press conference yesterday, the new Giants head coach sounded a lot like somebody that was coaching the Lions. I'll get into that coming up momentarily. But we begin today with Amon-Ra St. Brown's comments on the St. Brown podcast. By the way, Stacey Dales from the NFL Network is under the weather. She is going to join us Friday. We're hoping. Stacey, knock on wood, feel better. The fine reporter from the NFL Network. She's great. She's going to join us hopefully on Friday. All right. New episode is out of the St. Brown podcast with Amon-Ra St. Brown and his brother. And there have been some people today that have been taking to task the sun god, the Lions wide receiver, the star receiver, second team All-Pro, Pro Bowler. Amon-Ra St. Brown is everything that the Lions are about. He's got talent. He's tough. He's gritty. He blocks. And he's here long-term. And he's, a favorite player of so many Lions fans. So he got on the podcast today with his brother Equinemius and took fans to task, Lions fans, in regards to the hiring of Drew Petzing. Here's the audio, courtesy of the St. Brown podcast. Take a listen, and then we will react to it.
I see crazy Lions fans talking crazy, like, oh, why would we do this? Like, bro, do you guys, have no trust in Dan, in the Lions? Like, you think they just hire a random dude? Like, be for real. Like, you think they don't know what they're doing? They don't do their research. They don't interview. Like, most of you guys don't know really much about anything, about any ball.
Wow. Wow.
And you're tweeting about a coach that was hired that you guys don't like because of XYZ. Like, it's just funny to me to see. Don't get me wrong, I love all Lions fans, but they are so quick to make, judgments about who we hired, who we did this. Like, bro, just relax, calm down. Like, let the whole thing play out. Like, you guys just let it play out. Just relax. That's all I gotta say. Relax.
So St. Brown telling everybody to relax and saying that most Lions fans, and he referenced Twitter, which I don't know what you expect to see on the old Bird app, but it's probably never goes anywhere positive ever. But here's the thing. I'm not going to get on here and cook Amon-Ra St. Brown and do 7 more minutes of yelling and say that he's disrespectful to the fans. He made a cut. He's frustrated by the fans not liking the Drew Petzing hire. And he went to Twitter and saw a lot of the reactions. And that's where a lot of players see a lot of things. All right. They go on Facebook. They go on TikTok. They can go on Instagram. There's plenty of places to check out what our YouTube page here on Locked On Lions. You see the comments. What I don't like is this, though. St. Brown is saying that a lot of fans are angry and they should trust Dan Campbell because, quote unquote, you think Dan's just going to hire some random dude? Yes, I do think that. It happened last year. Dan Campbell made a monster mistake and hired some random dude who happened to be John Morton. So if St. Brown's going to be angry at Lions fans and saying, how could you think we could do such a thing by hiring some random dude? We're going to do our homework. Last year, the Lions rushed the offensive coordinator move, replacing Ben Johnson, and did hire a random dude. Nobody else was talking to John Morton. Now, there were some reports that, Ben Johnson would have wanted to bring in John Morton in some capacity, or Aaron Glenn maybe, and the Lions beat them to it. But when you accuse the fans of saying, of thinking that Dan's going to hire some random dude, he did. Last year, he messed up. Now, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have done so much more positive and good than bad, and they should get the benefit of the doubt. St. Brown is right. Fans get a little crazy. Fans go on Twitter, and they blast away. All right? I'm warming to the Drew Petzing hire. The more I think about it, the more I read about him, the more I talk to people, the more I like it. Do I love it? No. Am I overwhelmed and excited? And, oh, man, this was out of the box, and this was drastic and dynamic and cool and entertaining and exciting. No, I don't feel that way. I think Petzing has a chance to do a good job. I think he fits what the Lions are going to do. But for St. Brown to accuse the fans of thinking that Dan's just going to hire some random dude, sorry, Amon-Ra, that's what happened last year. The Lions played 8 games. And then on November the 3rd or 4th, whatever it was, well, we found out on the 9th, the day of the Commanders game, the guy got demoted. Who hired John Morton? Dan Campbell. You can't say, the fans think we're just going to hire some random dude. Yes, they think that because they saw it last year. He made up for it later by saying, I love Lions fans. He caught himself. All right. And when you're doing a podcast and when you're looking for material, look at me. I do it Monday through Friday. Sometimes you speak, I'm not saying out of place. I think Amon-Ra is frustrated by the fan base being so negative because the team has had so much success. But his argument about picking a random dude, you fired the random dude halfway through last season, or basically demoted him. So the Lions fans that are angry do have a leg to stand on. It's called John Morton. Drew Petzing did all he could in Arizona. When they were healthy and they had Kyler Murray going and James Conner and Trey McBride and the offensive line was healthy, they did all right, especially running the football. Drew Petzing did not, I repeat, did not do a good job on 4th down. Maybe that'll change this year. Maybe he'll have more in the bag, especially with the Lions and the kind of talent that they have. I'm willing to give him a chance. I didn't like the Morton hire a year ago. Go back and watch the shows or listen to the shows from February 1st of last year. I didn't like it. I like the Calvin Shepard move. I still have faith that the Lions defensive coordinator can get it done. Petzing, warming to it. But, people blasting Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra St. Brown does love the fans. He's frustrated. The season ended too early. Guys are pissed. So you go on his podcast and mouth off a little bit, okay. But to say he hates the fans, I want to say he's wrong, like I just did. I didn't think his comments were all correct. But I don't think he hates the fans. I think he saw a few on Twitter and said, many feel this way. Give me a break. I get it. I get the frustration. And they did not, the Lions this year, including Amon-Ra St. Brown, who there were games did not play well and had drops. And, what were they, 3-6 after his little dance in Washington? That didn't work so well either. Everybody's upset. Everybody knows next year's got to be better. Heck, Ben Johnson even commented about the Bears season at a season-ending press conference yesterday and was like, hey, we're back to square one. We're starting off. We don't have any momentum coming in from last year. We're back to square one. And we know the division's going to be better. It is. The Lions are going to be better. The Packers, when healthy, are going to be better. The Vikings won 9 games this year with no quarterback. It's a very good division. All right, those are my thoughts on the St. Brown comments. John Harbaugh, I want to play you a clip from his press conference yesterday. He sounds like he's talking about the Lions a little bit. I will explain coming up next here on a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions on the #1 sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network. And Locked On Lions for this Wednesday brought to you by Drip Drop. Yes, kicking off the year feeling good is the goal, right? It always is. And honestly, hydration is the easiest win. When I want to stay on top of it, my energy, focus, and mood all level up. But let's be real. Plain water doesn't always cut it, especially when you're grinding through long days, hitting the gym, or just trying to stay consistent with your health goals. That's where Drip Drop comes in. Doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. Think clearer focus, better energy, elevated mood, even that fresh skin glow. All right. They've got the precise ratio of electrolytes and glucose for rapid absorption, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading sports drinks. All right. And it tastes good. I've had it. I'm obsessed with that orange flavor. It's not bad. And lemon lime as well. There are 16 original flavors and 8 zero sugar options to choose from. Drip Drop science-backed formula is trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro teams because it rehydrates you faster and more effectively than water alone. If I could speak today and read, that'd be great. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL. That's dripdrop.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 20% off. Stock up now at dripdrop.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL. And Locked On Lions today also sponsored by our friends at Robinhood. What if sports was traded? We're traded like markets. Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Right now, I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commissions merchant and swap firm. And hey, shout out to our everydayers that are out there. We appreciate all of you making Locked On Lions your first listen of the day. And thanks for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. All right, if you haven't done this already, check it out. Go to our new Locked On Lions Everydayer Club. You want a ad-free audio feed of the show from Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, you can do it. Want to hop on the Discord, chat with me, chat with other Locked On Lions listeners and viewers, you can do that as well. Go to lockedonlions.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to learn more. All right, so I was watching a little bit this morning of the John Harbaugh press conference from yesterday, the brand new Giants head coach. And he was talking about, first of all, he said the word football like 1,000 times. And he did the whole team thing for his dad and everything else too. Jim and Jackie were there. Or Jack and Jackie were there. Excuse me. Jack Harbaugh, the dad. Jim was not there. Jim's hiring Mike McDaniel. You imagine Mike McDaniel and Jim Harbaugh on the same staff? Talk about two interesting guys. But John Harbaugh was talking about what he wants and what he's looking for in a New York Giant. And when I was watching this clip and listening to this clip, it reminded me of the Lions. Take a listen to John Harbaugh, courtesy of the New York Giants website.
To me, the number one thing is we have to have guys that love football. I mean, you just have to. It's football. What are we here for? You know, what do we do? What is this building for? It's for football. You know, this is a football team. And we need guys that love everything about football. They love the games. They love the practices. They love the weightlifting. They love the meetings. They love the dining hall, you know. They love every part of football, man. And if you love football, guys, if you love football, you're going to want to be here. You're going to want to drive in that parking lot every single day. You're going to want to walk in through those doors. You want to walk up in those halls. You're going to want to get in front of that tape and watch tape every single day because you're going to be around a bunch of guys that love what you love. They love football because that's what we're going to be doing, football, all the time, every day. And if there's guys, you know, around that don't love football, Joe, we're probably going to let those guys go play somewhere else, you know, because if you don't love football, you're not going to love it here because we'll be doing football. That's the plan.
John Harbaugh. We're doing football. It's about football. We're playing football. Joe, that's Joe Shane, the GM. We got guys that don't love football. We'll probably have to get them out of here. Doesn't that sound like the Lions? We've complained, and some of you fans have complained about Brad Holmes' free agent signings, not splashy enough. What does Brad Holmes always say? He brings up the fact that he wants culture fit and guys that love the game and lions. He wants lions here. He wants guys that fit the mold. Talk about grit, everything else. And the Lions, let's be honest, this year, we're not as gritty as they've been the previous 3 years. But I hear John Harbaugh talking about guys loving football, and we're doing football, and it's all about football. And that made me think of Dan Campbell. And made me think about the guys that the Lions brought in. All right. They signed a backup linebacker in the offseason just for special teams, Grant Stewart. You watch Grant Stewart play this year on special teams, you could just tell with the flowing locks, the hair, guy loves the game. Loves the game. Doesn't care if he's a starter. Doesn't care if he barely plays linebacker. He's on special teams. He loves football. Loves it. All right. They brought back Alex Anzalone 3 times with contracts. And I don't think it'll be a 4th. But he loves the game. He's a football player. John Harbaugh is talking about he wants the Giants to love football so much that I'm not saying he's emulating the Lions or turning this into the Lions, but that's what the Lions are about. You cannot, there's a lot of things you could say about the Lions this year. Didn't win enough games, didn't block, didn't tackle. But I don't think you can go in that locker room and find anybody that didn't love the game or doesn't love the game, doesn't want to get better. Watch Jamison Williams play. I've been harsh on Jamison Williams. This past year, I've barely said anything negative about him because he loves the game. Yeah, J-Mo jumped on the goal post and humped it and got a penalty, which was dumb. But you know what? The guy blocks downfield. When he's not getting the rock, he's still blocking. You can tell how much he loves football. So I thought John Harbaugh talk about football reminded me of the Detroit Lions a little bit. Really did. All right, I referenced this yesterday when we talked to Craig Grialou from the Cardinals radio network. I mentioned the offensive line and how Drew Petzing with the Cardinals this past year had the 26th ranked, 6th worst ranked offensive line, according to Pro Football Focus. And I mentioned that the Lions were 12th. For all our complaints this year about Detroit and the offensive line and the struggles they had at center, the injuries they had at guard, when Mahogany was out, the left guard situation was messy. When Glasgow was out, the center position was a dumpster fire. Taylor Decker might retire. Penei Sewell missed the last game with an injury. And you had a right guard this year in Tate Ratledge that was a rookie. Did okay, but not dominant, okay? You look at the teams that are left in the tournament, all right? Denver Broncos, for example. They're ranked number 1 this year in offensive line for PFF. All right, Chicago Bears just lost. They were ranked number 3. Colts almost made the playoffs. We're number 2. Rams still in it, number 4. 49ers just played last week, number 5. Buffalo Bills just played last week, number 6. Philadelphia Eagles made the playoffs, number 7. Pittsburgh Steelers postseason, number 8. And then you've got the Giants at 9, Chiefs at 10, Patriots still in it at 11, and then the Lions at number 12. Wow, this was a drop-off, folks. This was a drop-off. The Lions for the last couple of years were ranked, I think they were number 2 a year ago behind Philadelphia. And I know the year before they were in the top 3 with Philly and Cleveland. And now they're number 12. And there will certainly be questions about Taylor Decker. If the Lions, in fact, don't even want to wait for Decker's retirement decision and just want to cut him, They'll save themselves a lot of money under the cap. They'd have to go out and find somebody, whether it's in free agency or draft a left tackle. And there's going to be some at number 17 if Detroit wants. But I mentioned all of those playoff teams and some teams like the Rams and Denver that are still in the Final Four here. And they win because they block up front. They protect their quarterback. They jam off the ball and they block in the run game. Lions were number 2 last year on that list behind Philly for offensive line. Lose Frank Ragnow. Play a couple of rookies in there. Decker had a good year, but banged up. Sewell, great year again, but you go from 2 to 12. Hopefully they get back in the top 10 next year. We could talk about Drew Petzing all day, but I don't care if Vince Lombardi came back to be the Lions OC. If the offensive line stinks, it's not going to matter who's calling the plays. All right, coming up next, we're lucky in Detroit with the owner that we have. I will explain on Locked On Lions. And it's a Wednesday edition, Locked On Lions, brought to you by FanDuel, which is officially in playoff mode every game day during the NFL playoffs. FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. All right, we got the Final Four on Sunday, Championship Sunday. Open your profit boost pack first thing on Sunday and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. All right, it's going to be awesome. You make your picks, apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Hey, what about job searching and using Indeed? If you've ever hired someone who looked good on paper but just was not the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs puts your post at the top of the page and helps you reach the right candidates faster, right? Instead of struggling to get that job post seen, Indeed sponsored jobs helps your listing stand out and reach quality candidates faster. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with less stress, less time, and more results by using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of Locked On Lions get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying you heard it right here on Locked On Lions. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. All right, we are back. It is a Wednesday, Locked On Lions. How about that snow today? Woo-wee. Has anybody else had it with the snow? I'm about done. I was out there snow blowing this afternoon, and the roads weren't terrible. All right, but oh my gosh. When are we getting some warm weather? When's baseball season coming around? My goodness gracious. By the way, I was at the Michigan basketball game last night cheering on my IU Hoosiers who got destroyed. Dusty May and that team are an absolute wagon. My goodness, is Michigan basketball good. They didn't even play well, and they won by 14. But that wine and cheese crowd at Chrysler Center, my goodness. It's like that's supposed to be a home court advantage. I mean, and Chrysler Center is in good shape. Like they redid it. You know, the sight lines are good. I like where I was sitting in the corner with my buddy Ted, but just like, good job, gentlemen. It was like the tennis clapping. My goodness. We gets excited about Michigan hoops. I'm not saying you have to be the zone, all right, but man, that is not a very tough place to play if you're the opposition. All right, today, Bills now president of football operations. And Joe Marino pointed this out on Locked On Bills. And Locked On Bills is our best show. If you look at like the top 10 NFL shows on Locked On, Joe is number one like every quarter. He's awesome. I think we came in 9th on that list, which was cool to be in the top 10. But Joe Marino is number one. Locked On Bills it's a wagon too. Great show. And Joe is pointing out how he cannot believe Sean McDermott got fired and Brandon Beane, the general manager, got a promotion to president of football operations. And today, Beane and Terry Pegula, the owner of the Bills, spoke at a press conference, and Pegula just started filibustering and rambling. And one thing that he said, which was amazing, was when they're asking Brandon Beane about the lack of receivers and weapons for Josh Allen, Pegula cut off Brandon Beane and said, now the previous coach wanted Keon Coleman. So he throws basically Coleman under the bus and Sean McDermott and basically says, no, the guy sitting next to me didn't even want Keon Coleman. Now there are receipt videos all over social media, like inside the NFL, why miking Brandon Beane at the draft combine a couple of years ago saying, oh, Keon Coleman ran a 4.67. That'll help him get drafted. Oh, I like that. There's 2 or 3 different videos of Brandon Beane mic'd up talking about how much he likes Keon Coleman. An owner getting on there and being so unprofessional and chucking the coach under the bus. You want to make a change after 9 years? Just say we need a new voice. No. You're going to get up at a press conference and deflect any blame from your general manager, who is, by the way, lucky that he got promoted. Is just Bush League. And that's something that that's something that Sheila Ford Hamp would never do, ever. Sheila's is not a part of football much. She allows Chris Spielman, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, Ray Agnew, all these people to make her decisions for her, and she signs off on them. She's not holding a press conference after the season. She sent out a note to season ticket members, and that was it. What a Bush League move by Terry Pegula today. And if I'm a head coach trying to interview, I'm having second thoughts. And I know you're going to be coaching Josh Allen. It's an NFL job, head coaching job. They'll get somebody. But what a bad look today. That's not something that we'd ever see Sheila do. Too classy for that. All right. We got a Thursday. Locked On Lions tomorrow. We will dive into more topics. And certainly I got a couple of mock drafts I'm throwing your way tomorrow. This has been Locked On Lions for a Wednesday edition.